Hi, I'm Stephanie Catalano, licensed clinical social worker and personal development author. Welcome to Mindful Makeover, a podcast for women who want to learn how to live mindfully, become deliberate thinkers, and align with their true essence and most authentic self. The fact that you're here with me not only tells me you're ready to begin reaching your highest potential, but also sends a powerful message to the universe. I've had an opportunity to work with hundreds of women to help them tap into their inner power and create the life they desire, and nothing makes me feel more alive than to be a witness to a person's individualized transformation and growth. If you're ready to achieve your mindful makeover and create the life you desire, then let's get started. Each episode will leave you feeling educated, empowered, and elevated. Hi everyone, welcome back to the Mindful Makeover podcast. For this week's episode, I want to talk about the danger of assuming. I'm sure you can relate because we all have assumed, or perhaps even have a pattern of assuming, only to later realize we were way off or wrong completely. There was a time in my life where I took everything personal and I was a pro at assuming the worst possible case scenario, and all it did was cause me unnecessary pain, hurt, and all around negative feelings. I was doing this automatically without even realizing I was until after the fact. They say better late than never, but imagine how good it would feel to have the awareness you're doing it so you can stop yourself before you create an entire story without evidence to support it. The big joke used to be I was quite the storyteller because I would come up with an entire story about something and none of it was true. As an author who has a love for writing quotes and poetry and personal development books, I used to joke and say, maybe I should start writing fiction books because I was that good at making stuff up. This may sound funny, but in my case, and in most people's cases, there was something deeper going on. I was highly avoidant, meaning if I thought something would cause even the slightest conflict, disagreement, or any kind of tension, or even letting another person down, rather than approaching the person or situation, I would avoid it at all possible cost and assume something to be true when in actuality it wasn't true. This was my defense mechanism or a way to protect myself because the thought of conflict would cause me to spiral downward and lead me to have really, really bad anxiety. Just to give you an example, this even was true for me when it came to telling a person no. There was a time in my life that, let's say someone would text me inviting me to do something on the weekend, and if I had prior commitments or obligations, the idea of having to tell that person no would cause me to feel so bad, and that's because in a lot of ways, I was a people pleaser. So rather than just saying, no, I can't, I have other plans, I would completely ignore the text message. And it had nothing to do with that person. It was my way of avoiding having to say no, because by saying no, I thought that meant conflict, which wasn't true at all. So there are many reasons I did this, but in short, this was a learned behavior, one that started in childhood, and it was a pattern I learned that stayed with me into adulthood. I had to work really, really hard to break free from this pattern. I still struggle sometimes, but the truth is, ladies, we never really 100% heal. I've learned that healing is a daily commitment, and it's really important to stay committed to your own journey of healing, growing, and evolving. And in order to do this, you have to be paying attention to yourself and allowing yourself to slow down, because slowing down creates or allows for the space to stop, think, and then respond. It also allows for the space to become aware of your own patterns. So I want to ask you, are you aware if you have a pattern to assume without asking questions? How has it served you to assume? Does it protect you from conflict because you think you don't know how to handle conflict in a healthy way, or because maybe you struggle with people pleasing? Does it keep you from having to feel because you avoid feelings? I invite you to spend some time exploring this and inquiring about yourself and your own patterns. We all have them, and they started early in childhood. I think it's really important. Everyone knows that you are capable of changing and creating new patterns, ones that actually serve and support you. But the first step is to become aware and then to take action to change. I think that's the coolest thing about our brain too, is that we actually have the ability to rewire our brain, to retrain our brain, to create new patterns, but it's a responsibility. And the only way to do that is to become aware. And the only way to become aware is to start paying attention. And listen, I know in the moment when people avoid, this was totally me, it appears to be doing some kind of service, but it actually is a disservice. I'm not at all saying it has always been a disservice, because in fact, it's quite the opposite. At one time in your life and in my life, assuming or avoiding served us, especially as children, because we are only cognitively capable of doing so much, right? We don't have the cognitive ability to fully process certain things. And that leads to us maybe avoiding or assuming because we're kids. But now, once you become an adult, you're fully capable of creating new patterns for yourself, and it's your responsibility to do that. So I want you to kind of think about it like this. As an adult, let's say you avoid, which leads to assuming, and because most assume the worst, it creates anxiety or some other feelings, including resentment and so on. Now, on the other hand, let's say something takes place between you and a loved one, or maybe even a coworker, that bothers you or upsets you, and you express your feelings to that person in a healthy way. Once you talk about it, you feel better, and there's nothing to assume because you asked questions and went directly to the source. No different if I were to go back to the example of when I used to completely ignore text messages because I didn't want to tell a person no. Once you tell someone, no, I can't, I have plans, or no, because I just don't feel like doing that, you feel so much better. It actually feels good. It's relieving to just say no, to face the truth, to not be afraid to tell somebody, no, not today, I don't feel like doing that. Or, hey, when you said this, it really made me feel this way, right? It's all about what you do and how you do it, and what you say and how you say it. And I'm telling you from firsthand experience, once you speak your truth and you use your voice, it is so relieving, and it's also really, really empowering. Also, to assume, it's really, when you start assuming, it's really easy to take things personal, and it's not personal. Usually things aren't personal at all, and it has everything to do with the other person. And something I've learned is that every single person has their own struggles and their own battles. And imagine how it would feel to truly internalize and believe that you create your reality, because you do create your reality. And this means only you can change your reality. So I'm inviting you all to really begin to inquire about how you contribute to your reality. This is super, super important, and it's an absolute must in order to evolve and reach your highest potential. Get honest about what's real versus the story you are telling yourself. I'm going to say that again. Get honest about what's real versus the story you're telling yourself. It may sound shocking, or maybe it doesn't sound shocking, but most people's stories are false. Yes, real to them, but there's no actual evidence that supports it. And a lot of people suffer by default without even realizing it, which stems from childhood events or past trauma. And that's a whole other episode that eventually I will do, because I think it's important that we go deeper into this topic. But the point is that you don't have to suffer. You don't have to stay stuck. And it's easy to get caught up or stuck. And regardless of what's going on in life, time is clicking. I've learned that the clock doesn't stop for you, for me, for anyone. It doesn't slow down. So all people are doing is losing time over things that can be changed, healed, resolved, managed. And whether it's through, some people have to go through therapy, some people just find a mentor, some people get involved in sports or yoga, or they commit to meditation. Whatever it is, you have to find what's going to work for you. And regardless, it's going to require the willingness and the work. So the question becomes, are you willing to put forth the work it takes to change, to overcome, to transform? That's a really big question. If the answer is yes, then that is absolutely amazing and beautiful, because you deserve to be able to live your best life and to feel your best. And if the answer is no, then it's important to accept. And what I mean by that is either act or accept, right? I've learned everyone deserves their best. And I truly believe wholeheartedly everybody deserves to experience the best out of life, but this is an individual responsibility. And it's not fair to you, it's not fair to your loved ones, to your coworkers, and really to the greater good of all. Because if you're gonna stay stuck by choice, then that's on you and you have to accept that, right? But if you want to change, then take action, because that's the only way to change. Nothing changes if nothing changes. I remind myself of that all the time. It took me really, really long to realize this, but once you do, like I said earlier, this is so empowering and it's also liberating. I feel strongly that it's time more than ever to begin de-shaming and normalizing the struggles we all face so people feel safe to begin talking about their patterns and where they come from, because this is the only way to evolve. The problems people face or present with usually are just a symptom of something deeper that's going on in their lives. And that's, like I said earlier, that in itself is another episode. So definitely stay tuned, because I will be diving deeper into this topic. I think it's really important to talk about, and I want to help you all heal, evolve, grow, overcome, transform. So before I wrap up, I want to recommend a book that was and still is influential in my healing journey. The book is called The 4 Agreements by Don Miguel Ruiz. According to Ruiz, the 4 agreements are: be impeccable with your word, don't take anything personally, don't make assumptions, and always do your best. All right, beautiful. Here's to looking inward, becoming aware of your own patterns, and using your power to take action so you can continue to evolve into the highest version of you. From my heart to yours, much love. Thank you for joining me today. If you found today's episode to be insightful and inspiring, subscribe so you don't miss out on the next one. And I kindly ask that you please leave me a review so together we can help the next person. If interested in scheduling, coaching, counseling, public speaking, or workshops, check out www.themindfulliving.com and come connect with me on Instagram at mindfulliving.now, where I share daily inspiration, mindful skills, tips, and more. Mindful Makeover 30-Day Workbook and Guide for Women is available on Amazon, or you can find the link on my website and in my Instagram bio. Until the next episode, stay mindful and always remember the power that lives inside of you.